U.S. Coast Guard face-to-face with Chinese aircraft carrier near Taiwan Strait. Welcome back to our channel. Today we have an incredible story that unfolded in the waters near the Taiwan Strait. It's a face-to-face encounter between the United States Coast Guard and a Chinese aircraft carrier. Join us as we unravel the events leading to this tense standoff and delve into the implications it holds for regional security and international relations. The Taiwan Strait, a strategically important waterway located between Taiwan and mainland China, has long been a subject of tension between the two nations. The United States Coast Guard recently found themselves face-to-face with a Chinese aircraft carrier in these disputed waters. The encounter began when the U.S. Coast Guard received reports of a Chinese aircraft carrier entering the region. Concerned about the potential threat to regional stability, the U.S. Coast Guard promptly dispatched a patrol vessel to investigate the situation. The U.S. patrol vessel approached the Chinese aircraft carrier, maintaining a safe distance, while attempting to establish communication. The crew on board the U.S. vessel closely monitored the actions of the Chinese carrier, ensuring the safety of both parties involved. The encounter lasted for several hours, as the two vessels maneuvered through the waters near the Taiwan Strait. The U.S. Coast Guard vessel maintained a position of vigilance, ensuring that the Chinese carrier did not encroach upon Taiwan's territorial waters. This face-to-face confrontation between the U.S. Coast Guard and a Chinese aircraft carrier serves as a reminder of the complex geopolitical dynamics at play in the region. It underscores the ongoing territorial disputes and power struggles between the United States and China. This event has significant implications for regional security. It raises questions about the intentions of China in the Taiwan Strait and the role of the United States in maintaining stability in the area. It also highlights the delicate balance that must be maintained to avoid escalation and ensure peace in the region. U.S. Coast Guard ship transited Taiwan Strait. A U.S. Coast Guard ship sailed through the Taiwan Strait on Tuesday in a transit that China described as public hype, after U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken having wrapped up a high-profile, widely watched visit to Beijing a day earlier. The national security cutter Stratton made a routine Taiwan Strait transit on Tuesday through waters where high seas freedoms of navigation and overflight apply in accordance with international law, the U.S. Navy's 7th Fleet said on Thursday. The politically sensitive strait, which separates China from the democratically governed island of Taiwan, is a frequent source of tension as Beijing steps up its political and military pressure to try to force Taipei to accept Chinese sovereignty. Stratton's transit through the Taiwan Strait demonstrates the United States' commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific. The United States military flies, sails, and operates anywhere international law allows, the 7th Fleet added in the statement. The mission happened the day after Blinken ended a visit to Beijing, in which the two countries agreed to stabilize their intense rivalry so it doesn't veer into conflict, but failed to produce any major breakthrough. Taiwan's defense ministry said the ship sailed in a northerly direction, and its forces monitored the situation, which it's described as normal. The Chinese Coast Guard described the ship's transit as public hype. Chinese vessels tailed the U.S. ship all the way, a spokesperson at China's Coast Guard said in a statement, adding that China will resolutely safeguard its sovereignty and security and maritime rights and interests. A security source told Reuters the U.S. ship left the strait in the early hours of Thursday morning. U.S. military vessels, and on occasion those of its allies, have routinely sailed through the strait in recent years, to the anger of China, which views such missions as provocation. This month, the U.S. Navy released a video of an unsafe interaction in the strait, in which a Chinese warship crossed in front of a U.S. destroyer operating with a Canadian warship. Taiwan's military reports almost daily Chinese incursions in the strait, mostly warplanes that cross the waterway's median line, which once served as an unofficial barrier between the two. On Wednesday, Taiwan said Chinese warships, led by the aircraft carrier Shandong, sailed through the strait. Both a U.S. and a Chinese carrier strike group are operating near Taiwan as political tensions continue to simmer following a Taiwanese presidential meeting with U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, USNI News has learned. The Nimitz carrier strike group was operating in the vicinity of Taiwan in the Philippine Sea, according to the USNI News Fleet and Marine Tracker. USS Nimitz, CVN-68, is also operating in the Philippine Sea following a series of exercises with Japanese and Koreans with Exercise Sang 2023. We will not be deterred from operating safely and responsibly in the sea and skies of the Western Pacific, consistent with international law, and in keeping with that, the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group and a Marine Amphibious Readiness Group continue to conduct routine operations in the Philippine Sea and will remain in the region, Chris Meagher, assistant to the Secretary of Defense for Public Affairs, told reporters on Monday. The Shandong Carrier Strike Group launched 80 J-15 Flying Shark fighter missions from Friday through Sunday from People's Liberation Army Navy carrier CNS Shandong 17. According to Japanese officials, Shandong transitioned the Bashi Channel Wednesday and has since been operating off of Taiwan's east coast, USNI News previously reported. The Shandong CSG was part of Eastern Theater Command's Joint Sword drills, which began Saturday and ended on Monday. The drills launched after Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen returned from a U.S. visit, which included meeting McCarthy in California. Ground, naval, and air elements of all three arms of the PLA simulated carrying out strikes and a blockade of Taiwan during the drills. As of Monday, there were 12 PLAN warships and more than 90 aircraft operating in the vicinity of Taiwan, according to officials in Taipei. Taiwan security officials tracked at least 4 J-15 missions that entered Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone over the weekend, a first for simulating attacks from the east of the island. The fighters from Shandong had carried out multiple waves of simulated strikes on important targets, Chinese officials said in a Monday statement. In addition to releasing the location and composition of the Shandong Carrier Strike Group from Friday through Sunday, the Joint Staff Office of Japan's Ministry of Defense also said 80 fighter launches and recovery of 40 helicopter takeoffs and landings were conducted by the CSG, according to a Monday statement. Japan Air Self-Defense Force fighter aircraft were scrambled in response to the fighter launches. The release also stated that destroyers JS Sawagiri DD-157 and JS Sazanami DD-113 shadowed the PLAN Carrier Strike Group. Meanwhile, a U.S. guided missile destroyer sailed past a Chinese artificial island in the South China Sea, drawing the ire of Beijing. USS Milius DDG-69 conducted its second Freedom of Navigation operation near the Spratly Islands in the South China Sea in less than a month, further irking the Chinese Communist Party. Milius conducted the Freedom of Navigation operation, or FONOP, Monday morning, according to a U.S. 7th Fleet release. China, which protested Milius's transit last month, sent maritime and air assets to monitor the destroyer, according to a Chinese statement. Thanks for joining us today as we explored this incredible encounter between the U.S. Coast Guard and a Chinese aircraft carrier near the Taiwan Strait. If you found this video informative, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more captivating stories from around the world.